Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Sorry.
All right. So just before we get started, we'd like to remind the consults, our clients, that we do record our
Got
consultation.
it.
So it's just another heads up for you. Um, but other than that, go ahead and just fill me in on any important information that you think I should know about. Um, I'll be taking notes as you go along, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm Sarah. My dog Matzo is who you hear in the background, and he's coming to me right now. So I'll show you him on camera so you can meet him. This is Matzo. He's a 8-pound Maltipoo.
Okay.
He's a year and a half old. He is not neutered yet. I am in the process of getting that done. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Do I sound okay?
Yeah, I just want to make sure. He's actually more recently developing some bad behaviors. Like he was a pretty easy puppy and now it's becoming unmanageable and I need to address it. So I've outlined all of the bad behaviors and I'll tell you about what is most important to address to me. He's not so he has like and we've done private lessons with Tucker's pups, Kathleen, she's a pet trainer. She's done a great job with certain behaviors, but there are some I just cannot address. And she also has struggled with it. He has like fear-based aggression, so he will not let anybody handle him, including like a groomer or the vet. So
Okay.
he gets very like nippy and almost I'm trying to like describe it well, but he is like he tries to like wiggle out of the arms and bites, and he's actually like broken skin on a couple like two people before. So and he can't go to two groomers have rejected him because they're like he is not manageable. So and he's an 8-pound dog.
Okay.
He also let's see. So he also is like very fearful about certain things. So like when people come into my house, he like runs up to them and like scurries away. Like he wants to like bark at them, but then gets away.
Mhm.
Um, and he does that in when we're in public. If like people are meeting him, sometimes he like cowers and gets away, even though he's never had a bad experience. It's just how he is.
Okay.
So the trainer, like we worked on it and it helped because we would go into public, like we did certain things. It actually helped, but it's not fully resolved. Let's see. Sorry if I'm talking very quickly, let me know, but I just want to like make sure I get it all out.
For sure.
Um,
Real quick though. What did you guys do with the feet issue?
with like being held.
Feet. So like you're like people walking to you, like you said it was
Oh,
what made it easier for him to like accept that?
so we would do like place and like in his bed, like where he's in the living room where he could see the door. I
Okay.
would make him stay. She would enter and then she would come up and like she would walk in and then he would be able to like greet her and like that felt more comfortable instead of like rushing the door.
Okay. And then real quick again, sorry, I think I might have missed it. How old is your dog?
A year and a half.
And then what's the name?
Matzo ball.
Nice.
It's like a Jewish soup, matzo ball.
Matzo
It's
ball. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Go ahead and continue.
Okay, so and then that like fear transitions into public places, like when we are at the dog park or whatever, and people like go to pet him, and oftentimes like they're going to pet him over, so understand why he's a little bit afraid, but he like runs away, and he doesn't get aggressive. Like typically he doesn't get aggressive in that circumstance. He'll just like try to hide behind me.
You know why?
And I'm sorry.
Do you know why you don't see aggression at the park, but you see aggression at the groomers?
I am not sure. I
Because
mean,
dogs have only a few responses to stress, right? It's fight, flight, avoidance, or submission. So
mhm.
when he's off leash, he's off leash at dog parks?
Sometimes yes.
When he's off leash, right? he has an option, right? When he's getting stressed or overwhelmed by touch or someone approaching, he knows he has that option to run away, right?
Uh-huh.
However, if he's leashed up and at the groomers where they have him tied up to the little thing, right? He knows he can't get away, and they're more like forcing contact. So now he's realizing, okay, I can't run away. I'm not going to submit to them because I don't know these guys and I can't avoid them. So the only response I have left is fight. So I'm going to show that, right? So it kind of depends on the environment and the situation he's in. That's how he's going to respond to that specific like stressor. Just so you.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. I mean, it's so interesting with me because whenever I had the dog trainer and somebody like talking to you, it's common sense, like thinking about his like restrict in his mobility. He can't go anywhere. But then like it doesn't cross my mind,
And it's
you
fine.
know?
Yeah, it's like
Um,
um I mean, it is similar to humans, we can, if we're running away from someone, right, and they got a knife, like we're gonna run away before we have to confront them. But then if we're cornered, then like, well, this is all we have left, so we'll do our best, right? So this dogs are
yeah,
thinking,
exactly.
yeah. But cool, go ahead and continue.
Okay. Let's see. So he won't let other people, I mean, that this comes down to similar with the groomers. Like he will not let other people pick him up. I have very few friends who will allow to pick him up. And typically they're very assertive people. Like my girlfriends who are not afraid of him, they'll just swoop him up and he's fine. But
Mhm.
it's like he like scurries away. But he was never like that until the last 6 months or so. So I know that he has it in him to be a very like agreeable dog, and that's why this is concerning to me that suddenly he's afraid of people touching him. um and let's see what else I have. You can also stop me along the way if I'm just rambling very quickly.
Sure.
He has guard behavior, so he like guards his toys and his treats and similar things. Like anything he doesn't want me to take from him, he like hovers over. With me, it's different. Like I can go up and take it from him. Anybody else, he would bite. He would go
Okay.
for it.
Resource
Um,
guarding only to strangers. Right.
yes, only to strangers. I think because he knows, like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna take it.
Okay.
And then now, so he has demand behavior, as you can see right now, how he is like kind of crying, wants what he wants. He is like very noisy and shrieky. So in our own home, his demand behavior is like it is now. What he wants is me to pet him or me to play with him. He'll paw at me. He'll come up, like if I'm sitting on the sofa or in my bed, like he'll come up to me and dig and like want me to come like pick him up and put him with me or whatever. In public, it's similar but different. Like he'll jump up on me and like claw at my legs to like get me to pick him up. Like he wants to be up with me to see what's going on. And it also like that translates to him whining or barking, um, just demanding what he wants. And it's frustrating because I'm like, sometimes in public, it's so irritating to strangers, I'm sure, that I just pick him up because I'm like, they don't want to hear him cry,
For sure.
you know? So he also hears my neighbors right now, which is, oh my God.
Okay.
Um, and so and the demand behavior, like also, so he pulls the leash when I walk him. Like he wants to go where he wants to go. It's the most irritating thing. Like, and if he doesn't want to go which way we're going, he will lay down and like I could pull him for as long as I could pull him and he will not start walking.
Okay.
And then okay, so and then now the anxiety. So actually, I want to go to his like demand. He used to be, I've flown with him a handful of times and he was great. Like I put him in his carrier, he went under the seat and was quiet and everything. The last time and no medication, no trazodone, nothing. I had it in case. The last few times, like the last 2 times I've flown, the last time I gave him trazodone, the time before, he was like a cat in a bag, was like tumbling around because he didn't want to be in it, but he had never realized like he could protest. And suddenly something in him realizes like I can just throw up a fit and get what I want. But it's like I'm in a plane. I don't have much of a choice but to like accommodate because of all the people around. So that's kind of that goes on with like demand behavior. He knows he can get what he wants by throwing a fit. He also has like no boundaries. Like he always wants to be on my lap or in my face, or he doesn't like when I shut the door. Like if I go to, which we've actually been working on the last week, I've been shutting the door at night and making him sleep in the living room, and it's worked. And he doesn't claw at the door anymore. But like I'm trying to create a separation because he thinks he should just always be with me.
Good.
And then anxiety. So this is like some of the most annoying behaviors, but and I don't know how it could be addressed if I'm not around, but like he will not, if I'm with my friends and I take him out and I like have to use the restroom, if I left him with them, he will shriek. Like he screams, not just like it's like shriek. And almost like he sounds like he's in pain. So if I'm out of his sight, like he'll freak out. Separation anxiety with the leaving my apartment, he has it, but it's so sporadic. Like last night I left and he was totally fine. I left, he didn't even care. But sometimes I'll leave and he'll throw a fit and run around the house and pace and like claw at the door. So I don't really know why it's inconsistent, but that I would like to fix. And I can't leave him like at my apartment with somebody or someone else's apartment. Like it doesn't matter who's there if I'm not there.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
So and
Anything
then
else?
he's like destructive.
Oh,
Yeah, he's like destructive when he gets anxiety. He like digs and chews shit up.
got it. Okay.
Okay. Oh my God. This is an overload on you, I'm sure, but
No,
it's just all of this stuff is like unbearable.
sure. Anything else?
No, that was pretty much my list. It's just that like some of his bad behaviors are just so inconsistent and sporadic that it's hard to address like me leaving or something. But other behaviors are very consistent.
Of course. So sounds like I mean he's just a needy dog, like overall just needy and um with these little dogs and the whining with the habit of picking them up and accommodating to him, right? He's learned that he can get what he wants if he throws a fit, right? So
Uh,
when he was placed in that kennel on the plane, you're correct, he did learn that, but technically it wasn't like all of a sudden, right? It was because of everything before, right? So he's like, okay, well, I want to be in here. What do I do when I don't want something, or when I want something? I throw a fit. So I'm gonna throw a fit in here. Hopefully, it gets me a way out, right? You separating him in another room, and then like I'm assuming you're just ignoring him if he does throw a fit, is a really good and healthy thing for you to do at home when you are there, because it's harder for a dog to practice separation when you're home versus when you leave,
yeah,
right? Because he's thinking she's home, why the hell am I not with her, right? So that's good you're doing that. Slowly extending the duration. He's in that room to kind of get ready for like when you actually have to leave for like an hour or two. And what I also recommend is probably leaving him in that same room when you leave, right? So he doesn't get all the freedom. Does that make
he
sense?
dug up my carpet. Like so much anxiety. He like scratched the door till his paws bled and dug up the carpet. So I
Mhm.
did try that. I've tried leaving him in a crate, a kennel, like a plastic kennel, soft kennel. Like he actually does better when he gets to like has the freedom to move around. Otherwise, I think he feels like restricted.
Okay, what does he do in the kennel?
The kennel, the soft kennels, he chewed out of two of them. He and I think because he feels confined, he just is trying to escape the whole time. Like it never makes him calm down. I thought like the den like would make him calm. So I got a plastic kennel, like the plastic ones with the grates in the front, and those he broke out of it.
Okay, what do you mean by plastic? Like are you talking about like
Like
the
the carrier kennels, like they're plastic on the side, like you know,
how, and then he broke like through the front door, or he broke
the front door.
front door, and then like he just like did he like chew some stuff and everything got away, or was it just like was there any damage to the kennel?
I think he chewed like a bolt enough to like fling the door open,
Oh,
like the plastic enough to get the door open.
okay.
And then the what other have I think that's like pretty much the way I've left him. I've done like the playpen. I don't know what
Yeah.
it's called, like a dog playpen. That he just panicked trying to jump out the whole time. So if I leave him in my apartment, like he might go to the door and he might cry for 10 minutes or so, but he typically calms down. If that's how it goes, he calms down after 10, 15 minutes and then he relaxes, lays on the sofa, lays by the door, whatever. Sometimes, like I said, not even doesn't even care that I've left.
Okay, but so he's not chewing stuff anymore or being destructive.
No, he
Oh, okay.
tear he's potty pad trained, so he tears up his potty pad every once in a while, but that's again sporadic, inconsistent.
Oh, okay. I thought he was still being like destructive with everything and like causing chaos in the home when he left. But if it's like if he settles with the free roam and then the only thing he'll destroy is his potty pad and you don't care about that, then
Yeah.
if you're happy with that, then I don't care either.
Yeah, like I mean, I would ultimately like it to be where I could just leave and not worry about him having anxiety.
Yeah.
But I, it's better than it was. Like when he clawed at the door and like made his paws bleed, that was crazy. So that's why I started letting him free roam.
Mm, okay. Um, so your touch sensitivity and like I said before, it's once he has because we already see it. We already can see that he doesn't like being touched. Now, when you put him in a situation where we have to touch him, it's all going to come out, right? He's going to throw his biggest fit so that the groomers cannot touch him, right? However, groomers don't have the tools and knowledge to help work a dog through that and let them know that fit you're throwing, those teeth you're landing on my hands isn't going to work for you, right? Um, so that's something that's not really new to us. We've had many little dogs or big dogs who have what's called like touch sensitivities, what's called, and it's putting a dog through stress to have them figure it out that when this happens, it's not bad, right? You're the one who's making it bad, right? And then once
Yeah.
dogs figure that out, they're like, oh, this is only hard because I am making it hard for myself, right? Enrique or the groomer or whatever, they're just trying to pet me. Like it's not that bad, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's nothing new for us. We've done it before, and we made great progress. Enough progress to the point where it does transfer. So like, we had a dog who they couldn't. The only way the dog could visit the vet is if they like knocked him out, like put him to sleep, bring him to the vet, and then he woke up and then they pick him up. That was the only way they'd accept the dog.
Yeah.
Right? Um,
They asked me to give him trazodone before he goes.
yeah, training
And it's like he shouldn't have to do that shit. Like he should go to the vet.
for sure. Training started, and then for like the first time ever, they were able to take him to the vet with no drugs, nothing on him, and he did great, right? Um,
Wow.
I've seen it like definitely transfer to other places. Um,
Okay.
what else?
With touch sensitivity, like his when he doesn't want other people to pick him up, like even my other friends in our own home, like does that is would it transfer to like just like that type of sensitivity?
Yeah, so it'd be easier, especially if you're there, right? Because the main concern would be, what if I'm not there to help him or address him if he does throw a fit? But if you're there, by then you'll have the knowledge and the tools to be able to work him through that. So it shouldn't be an issue there. As long as you know the exercises and stuff like that, not an issue. Um, and then with your previous trainer, what did you guys what was like you guys was it like food, prong collar, e-collar, and then how many classes or what was worked on and what got better?
So it's Tucker Pups, so they're positive reinforcement only. So they wouldn't allow their trainers to use prongs or e-collars.
Huh?
I had a bark collar when I would leave, and it would, buzz, buzz, beep, beep, buzz, 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 zap. And
Mhm.
that's ultimately what made him stop barking after 10 minutes. He realized like I don't want to get zapped. And so he'd stop. And then I did get a remote collar. I haven't used it though, because I want to make sure if I use it properly. And the trainer I worked with, she told me, she's like, you have to know your timing and you have to know what you want to address. So that's why I haven't used it. But we did a lot of positive reinforcement, since that's their methodology. We worked a lot on demand behaviors and a lot on socialization. His socialization has improved. He used to be, so when he was a little puppy, he was very friendly with people. And then he went through a phase where he was so afraid and fearful. Now he'll allow certain people at the park, like, to smell, he'll go up and smell them or take a treat from them. So I know there's progress that's been made just with that trainer. So I know it's possible to just hopefully resolve completely.
Yeah. Between a 6 months to a year is when a dog's brain just switches. It becomes who they're going to be as an adult, right? So it's very common from what I've, when I did these consultations, the puppy was great, but then he turned 6 months and then he started attacking my neighbor's dog, right? He turned 6
Yep.
months and he started whining a lot. He turned 6 months and something, right? So that's good that at least before 6 months, he was able to be held. He was able to, socialize and all that stuff, right? The change he had has nothing to do with you or the training or anything like that. That's just the brain, right, just flipping and becoming who they are going to become, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I've heard that before, and it was spot on. 6 months, he just became an asshole, and then until like, I mean, it was actually worsened in about 8 or 10 months, and then it's only progressively got worse. And I'm like, done.
Yeah. What else? For your walks, he just pulls and then avoids people. That's it.
He doesn't even avoid people as much. I mean, if they try to pet him, he will, but
Okay.
he pulls in the direction he wants to go. And if I go a direction he doesn't want to go, um, he stops and like pulls the leash back and will lay down, and like I could drag him I could drag him a block and he will not stand up and move. And I've even like done, oh my God, I've done everything that
Okay.
they say to do, that even my trainer told me to do. And he's still just annoying.
And what were you told to do?
Well, with the polling, it was like no poll, like your word, and I would stop and I would make him like come back to me, get next to my side, and then walk with me. And so he was doing that for a while, and I consistently did it. And it's like something snapped in his brain, and he just decided, like, meh, like I know I learned that, but I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yes.
And so that was that. And then the stopping to go which direction I wanted, it was like if he stopped, it was like get him to go. And if he wouldn't go, I was like opposite direction. I don't care. And walk the opposite direction where he would go. Not the direction he wanted to go, but a different direction. And it's like, but it's so annoying. It's
Yeah.
like I want him to walk with me
Yeah, it's
where I
unreal.
want to go.
Yeah, that's like it's unrealistic there. Um Resource guarding. Um but when did that start?
It started at about 6 or 8 months. He started doing it, and he only does it with other people, really. Like with me, he's just not going to do it because he knows I'm not going to put up with it.
Okay. If has he ever shown resource guarding or like, like growling or anything to you?
Um, yes, on two instances that I can remember. Uh, he did it on his first birthday. I gave him like a dog treat, and then it was such a big dog treat. I just wanted to get a photo with him mostly, like just be like, oh, your happy birthday. And then I was going to let him eat half. And so when I went to take it, he was like, "Arr!" And I was like, no, you're done. Like
Yeah.
you're done. And then another time is he has this big bone and he was chewing on it. And all I did was look at him from 5 or 10 feet away from the kitchen. And he hovered and looked at me like he knew I was looking at him. And I wasn't coming to take it or anything. And it was like he didn't even want the thought of me to take it away from him. So those are the two instances. He also resource guarding. Oh, I typically like if he's I can see him starting to guard something, I'll distract him with something and I take it away. That's it.
And then how did you dress the first two times?
I just took the shit away.
Okay. Did he go at you or anything?
With the on his birthday, yes, kind of. And I was like, "You're done." And I took it because I was in the kitchen. I grabbed the towel and just whacked him, and he was like, "Okay." Which, and then the bone, I was just like, "No,
Okay.
done."
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know, but I know I just sound like an asshole. But it's like this dog is like pushing me.
No, you're not an asshole. You're just realistic, right? So we already know that he will bite, right? We often try to have our clients think like a dog, right? So if he's at the dog park and a dog is wanting to play with him, but this dog is like very like in your face, very pushy, what do you think he's gonna do? I forget what's his name? Matzo.
Yeah, yeah,
What do you think he's gonna do if that dog keeps pushing him? And he gets cornered, right? He can't run away now,
yeah,
right? He's gonna bite him. Okay. Dogs can't say off, leave it, no. They don't put each other in timeouts. They don't neuter. They don't spay each other. They don't drug each other, right? It's you're gonna be this way. You're gonna do this. You're gonna get this consequence, right? And it's just a quick bite. So for you to and what that is called physicality, right? When a dog bites another dog, physical, it's physicality, right? That's the language. They don't have English. Okay. So then when you show up with the towel and then boom, you bonk him on the head, he's like, whoa, right? Because that technically is his language. You're communicating something, right? He's like, I didn't like that. Probably shouldn't do it again, right?
yeah.
Luckily, you have a little dog, right? If this was a
Uh-huh.
Rottie or like a bully breed, I can imagine one would be hesitant to whack a big Rottweiler, right? Because we don't know what the response to the correction will be, right? Because
Yeah. I mean, worse, he's gonna bite my ankle.
exactly, yeah.
Like,
But it seemed like he handled that well. He didn't continue to go at you because sometimes dogs will want to correct back and then they're going back. That's where you get the fights at the dog parks where one dog corrects one dog. That dog's like, I'm not going to put up with that. And then you get the scuffle,
oh,
right?
yeah.
So if a dog is kind of aware and understanding and like very neutral, they'll receive a correction and just like, okay, I'm going to stop that, right? So that's good. Um, what else? So it sounds like just what he's needing is just more discipline and structure in his language. So like through
Mhm.
physicality, right? Um, so I'm not saying like we're going to be like whacking with towels or anything like that, but we have a tool that can kind of communicate in that way, which is e-collar, right?
Mhm.
Currently, for Matzo, what is the training tool you're using to walk him? It's like, is it a harness?
Just a harness, body harness.
So the reason why I don't know, maybe you've heard this before, is that we don't use harnesses, right? Harnesses
Uh-huh.
are still a training tool. They're still used for certain things, but they're not good for leash walking. Okay.
Hmm.
So harnesses create opposition reflex. Okay. Do
Okay.
you know what that phrase means?
Yeah. Yep.
So
Like you pull, you want to pull.
exactly, right. Um, Usually an owner would think that they have the most control since it's on their whole body that they can just, they got the control. However, dogs are most strongest on the chest area, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
whenever he doesn't want to go somewhere, he stops and you pull forward, it's making him want to go back even more. Same thing for
Hmm.
pulling. If he's pulling and you're pulling him back, you're activating that reflex of him wanting to go
To go forward.
against the
Got
pressure.
it.
Huskies wear harnesses so they can pull the sled. We also use harnesses for protection training to create frustration. So we have the person in the bite suit across. I have my dog in a harness. If I pull, he wants to go forward. So then I let him go a little forward, but then I pull back again. And I'm playing this like tug game with him. And then once I see enough frustration build, which is like the barking stuff, and like he's like, I'm getting angry, then I let the leash go. I let him get what he wants, and he goes and bites the guy, right?
Uh-huh. Oh,
That's
got
why we
it.
use harnesses. There are other training tools out there, like you have your regular flat collar, you have slip leashes, slip chains, prong collars, and e-collars, right? Um, Obviously, we wouldn't be using a flat collar to fix pulling, because usually what happens, they just end up choking themselves, and then it damages the trachea and all that stuff, right? Slip leashes and slip chains are a good step forward. However, it's still like a Band-Aid type thing. Some dogs are really good with slip leashes, some dogs are not, so it's like a hit or miss. Prong collars. Are you familiar with prong collars?
Yeah,
Have you ever
yeah.
used one?
I have not, but I know how effective they are, especially with big dogs. So I
Uh,
just am curious, like with such a small dog, how does that work?
yeah,
Same
so
thing, just smaller prongs?
yeah, they have like
Okay.
I don't have them here, but there's a we don't train with prong collars, right? We only train with e-collar. The reason why we do this is because prong collar has a very low ceiling of success. So you can still teach heel, stay, sit down, come, place. However,
Mhm.
once that prong collar comes off, you've lost all control. You cannot communicate, good, come, heel, whatever you want to him, right? Um, or maybe you try prong collar and he's like, no, this isn't that bad either. I don't care, right? Which can happen.
Uh-huh.
Right? It usually happens a lot with like our bully breeds and like golden retrievers. Funny enough, because the goldens and labs are so happy-go-lucky that when you're giving
Uh-huh.
the prong collars, they're just like still wiggling. What's going on? Like what's happening, right? So they just
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
they're so overexcited and so overstimulated that they override the prong collar pressure, right? Um, so little dogs can wear prong collars as well. But like you said, it's more needed for those bigger dogs, like an emergency thing. So like if you turn the corner, sometimes owners aren't quick enough to react to the remote, but they have physical control, right, with the prong collar to react
Oh,
right
just
away.
pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
So you can effectively like teach a dog to, like you were saying, sit, stay, whatever, all of those things, and then walk like with the collar. And it's like more effective in the way that what? Like how is it more effective for them?
The
Like
e-collar?
just yeah, than the
So
prong with walking
yeah.
specifically.
So the reason why for walking e-collar is more effective is because again, prong collar can be like a hit or miss, right? And
Okay.
it's a more nuanced. It's more nuanced. It's the leash handling, communicating with the hand and pressure. And a lot of times when we do get clients who try prong collar, they're always yanking. They're just pulling, pulling, pulling,
Oh,
pulling, and it's a constant like management. You're always managing and you're controlling physically your dog, versus we would want mental control where you don't need to do anything, right? All you gotta do is press a button, but it's more than that, right? But it's easier, right? um
uh-huh.
what else? A funny story. Jesse, he's the owner of the company, he's the head trainer. He rescued his Chihuahua Poncho. He was like kind of like a stray, and he rescued him. And then this was before Jesse like started like officially training, and he found out that the Chihuahua was very reactive to dogs, right? So Jesse was trying out, positive reinforcement and stuff like that, because he started out with food only. That he was like, in his mind, he was like, I'll never go to e-collar, never, right? So he was doing
Yeah.
the stuff, and then he found it wasn't working. So then he tried prong collar, and he would give like corrections to the Chihuahua, and Poncho didn't care, right? Jesse was at the point where if Poncho was
Little
barking,
masochist.
yes, this little Chihuahua would bark, and then Jesse would give a leash pop, and Poncho would spin 3 times and then go straight back to barking, right?
Yeah,
Did
okay.
not care.
Just like mental block.
Exactly. Poncho wasn't able to comprehend what was going on here because he was so focused there, right? So if Multiball is at a 10, right, on maybe on resistance, he's like, I am not going, you cannot make me. And your strongest yank or pull is only a 7, you're never going to override the brain, right? He's going to be stuck.
Uh-huh.
You're only going to be you're going to be yanking and cranking for no reason, right? Um, e-collar um, can reach to that level 10 and override the brain to make him move or make him do the behavior or stop a behavior, right? um and it's the only tool that can guarantee you 90 to 100% of reliable obedience up to off-leash obedience, right? Because I don't need to be connected to the dog. I have my remote to touch the dog from afar, right? A lot of times, people call them shock collars. That's an old school term. It's like kind of a way to speak like negative about the tool. E-collar, remote collar, something like that. What do you know about e-collars?
Well, my mom used it on her dog and my brother used it on his dog, and he had a big like shepherd mix rescue, and she has his brother, and he is so well behaved. I mean, he has a little bit of bad behaviors, but it's different than my dog. And I was apprehensive to get the bark collar at first. So this was 5 months ago, 6 months ago. I was apprehensive to do it, and I did it, and I was like, that was so effective, so fast. And now with his bad behaviors, I'm like, go for it. Like,
yeah. Do you know where the technology comes from?
no.
So the feeling, right, that he feels on the e-collar. What's the brand of bark collar you have? Do you remember?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Does it have a screen on it or no?
At the remote one, I haven't used it on him, has a screen, but the bark collar does not. It's simple. It's like sensitivity and then the shock level.
Okay, I see. And then what's the model of e-collar you have?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's not helpful. I could get it out if you want me to. It's literally right there, but
was it a circle remote?
No, it's like looks like a walkie-talkie.
Okay. We'll see. So
it was like an Amazon one, but again, like I said, I haven't used it because I want to use it properly. $30.
Okay, I would return that as soon as you can.
10-4. I haven't even used it, so
good. Now, an e-collar, the technology comes from. It's very similar to like a mini TENS unit. Are you familiar with the TENS unit?
No.
They're used at chiropractors or by physical therapists.
Oh yeah, the muscle reaction.
So that same technology, that same feeling is how an e-collar feels. But there are some collars out there, like cheap ones or older ones, that actually do feel like shocking or too strong, right? So there's different brands. Some brands are a little sharper, some brands are duller, some brands have big jumps between each level. So the brand we use, and it's our number one go-to, is called Dogtra, Dogtra, right? That brand, used by Jesse for more than half his career. He's tried other brands before, but this one provides a very duller feeling from the stem. So the dogs don't get super anxious when they feel it, because there's some other brands out there that are a little sharper. And if the dog has anxiety or like aggression issues, you do see it more than often where it kind of spikes, right? But then, because he was like experimenting back in the day, and he switched to Dogtra, and these dogs were just like way better. So he's stuck with Dogtra ever since. Dogtra's e-collars also provide you with 127 levels of stimulation, right? And these are all in one, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 127. There's some other collars out there that maybe go up to 8 or 10 or 16, right? So don't think that Dogtra is providing you 100 more levels. Your maximum level 8 and our maximum 127 are equal. Okay. But so many more breaks and so many more numbers to be more specific to the dog's personality, the breed, the exercise, or like the situation we're in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't think it's 127 times harder than a 10 or whatever, or 100, 10 times harder. But I get what you're saying. I just, it's almost like with him, I know the 5 levels of the bark collar were effective. So I'm sure whatever you guys use that has like more nuanced levels would be effective.
Sure. What else? So that's like the technology of the e-collar. That's how it feels a dog. So don't think you're like electrocuting your dog. It is electric, yes, but it's not like flowing through his body or anything like that. It's just whatever those two contact. So it's like your strap, you have a little box, and then 2 contact points. Whatever those two are touching is what it'll be contracting. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
for dog trust,
Can I ask how, oh, sorry, how, like with using the same type of, um, like the same type of correction for many different types of behaviors, how does that work all at once? Like if you're trying to teach him how to walk, but also trying to teach him how to have like reduce his touch sensitivity.
yes. So the first thing we would want to do is just teach him how it comes, how it goes, and what it means, right? So the first thing we want to teach him is what's called our heel command. Our heel is our walking command. Our version of heel means walk with me, stay with me, and then sit when I stop. So if you take 5 steps with multiple, he takes 5. If you take 10, he takes 10. And then when you come to a stop, he's to automatically sit with his shoulder parallel to your leg, loose leash in any environment. I don't care what's going on. That's how strict it needs to be, right? This
Uh-huh.
is taught to, well, the obvious reason would be for that obedience, right? The other one would be how this happens, how it goes away, and how it comes, right? Because a lot of times people think that e-collar training is when you put a dog in a situation where they're going to react and then you blast them, right? That's
Uh-huh.
incorrect because it's very confusing, right? Because he's if that were to happen, he would be thinking, where did this come from? Is it going to come back? Why did it come? And he's in so much confusion there. Versus if he just has an understanding of how it goes and that he is the one that is in control of the feeling. When we get to that point of touch, right, it's going to be easier based on a lot of things because the heel, right, it sounds very strict, right? He has to walk by you. For every step you take, he's there, right? So there's no lagging, there's no passing,
Yeah.
sniffing, there's no doing all this stuff. It's you're here, unless I say otherwise, right? So with just that type of walk you're introducing to him, you're adding structure and discipline to his life, which then can affect outside things outside of the walk, meaning like maybe his neediness and his anxiety. I've had
Uh-huh.
dogs who would stare at the wall when the shadow appeared, and they would just stare at the shadows and start drooling and just like they're like just gone, right?
Uh-huh.
I've never had to directly address that behavior because it just goes away on its own as we just use the e-collar. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I similarly, not to interrupt, but I was thinking about certain bad behaviors he has, like running up to people when they enter my home. And it's like, well, if he had the ability to like place and stay where he needs to be, like when they come in and he knows he can't leave that spot, then that would automatically address that behavior to an extent. Like, is that like the same thing as the shadow? Yeah.
So for place, do you know the difference between obedience and behavior?
No.
For humans, think of behavior as don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, don't kill. And that's our behavior. Our obedience would be math, science, English, social studies. So if I'm a murderer, teaching me math skills won't fix the problem. Okay. They don't.
Okay.
So for dogs, heel, stay, sit down, come, place does not fix touch sensitivity or guests entering the home, right? Place in
Hmm.
that scenario is a band-aid, right? Because if he's on the bed,
Okay.
he's not going to rush them, but he has to be on the bed. So it's just like a band-aid.
Uh-huh.
What we like to do as a trainer, because at the end of the day, do whatever makes you happy. But what we will want to do is push that, right? Take away the bed. I want him to have the free roam and then make the decision to not rush that person, right? Because I want to
Yeah.
assess behavior with behavior, not use obedience for behavior. But again, if at the end of the day, this is how you want it and this is what makes you happy and it works, then that's fine. As long as your guys are happy, that's all we care about. But like as
Uh-huh.
like dog trainers, we do like to push for more things. So like when you said he's good at free roaming when I leave, um, but in the room or in the kennels, he tries to break out. As trainers, we would want to address those little things, right? Just to address them.
Uh-huh.
So it's never an issue. But if you're like, well, he's fine, just free roaming, and I have no issues, and that's fine too, right? Um,
Yeah.
does that make
Well, you
sense?
guys are the experts. You are the experts, so you tell me what needs to be addressed and we address it. Like I'm, like if you think that would be more beneficial, like he should be able to sit in a crate, like he will sit in a crate,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
does he ever go to daycare or boarding or anything like that?
Got kicked out of Pups Pet Club for trying to bite. On his first day, they do the touch sensitivity test,
Okay,
and he tried to bite. So he got kicked out, and they told me I need to come get him at 1 p.m. So that's why I'm like, he needs to be fixed.
got it. Has he ever been kenneled at a different location besides your home?
No, not that I can think of. I mean, my boyfriend, when I first moved to Chicago, like a year ago, he was kenneled there, but that was like his second home. He was always back and forth, so different,
And plus, he was a
you
puppy.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was kind of used to also being kenneled at that point.
Sure. Okay. So for heel, how e-collar works, your obedience, your leash pulling. Um, what else? And this behind the heel, like the idea behind it is that, heel is so important. Being next to you is so important that nothing else matters, right?
Hmm.
A lot of times trainers or people dog owners want that like look at me command or a focus, right? This with this method of training in our program, it happens naturally. He's just going to be naturally focused on him because he's like, I better keep an eye on mom because this is uncomfortable. And when I do this behavior, it turns on. So if I'm here and at this sweet spot, it goes away and then we're good. We just gotta walk, right? So during these moments, again, when you're adding the structure and discipline in his life, you have to walk, you can't resist, you're doing these things. You're making him do something on your terms, right?
Okay.
When he gets stressed, he gets whiny, he wants to jump on you, he wants to do these things, right? So it wouldn't be out of the ordinary, right? Because being told what to do, no one likes that, right? No one likes being disciplined, right? E-collar is an aversive. No one likes being told what to do. Same thing with dogs. So once you start the training, it's nothing out of the ordinary for their stress response to kind of come out because he's like thinking like, oh shit, mom's making me do this, but I don't want to do it, and it's stressing me out, right? So what I would predict to see if we were to see it would be like maybe jumping on you and almost like whining and like, hey, I don't like this, pick me up so I can escape it, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but what must be done is teaching him how to handle stress, right? As a child, if I had to give a speech tomorrow, and I was telling my mom, hey, mom, I don't want to do it. Can I stay home? And if she let me stay home and just didn't care and was like, whatever with me, I'm going to become a specific adult, right? But my mom made
Hmm.
me, she made me do these things. And then the speeches became more easier and easier and easier. And it wasn't a problem anymore, right? But I was made to do it. So I overcame it. Same thing with the dogs, right? If we just stop because we're like, oh, well, he's whining, he's jumping on me, and I feel bad, right? He's never going to learn how to handle stress, and it's not going to help him increase confidence with strangers or anything like that, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so once the heel and we're getting used to e-collar, you're getting familiar with the remote, then we can go ahead and move on to the behavior stuff like touch, resource guarding, and any other obedience you're wanting him to learn. Um, any questions so far?
So like the touch sensitivity, like that based aggression could be addressed. You think, like, I mean, you were talking about the other dog that went to the vet, so that's something that you are able to work with. Okay. And then the general anxiety of which I don't know if it's touch sensitivity when people want to pet him and he's freaks, like runs away, like scurries. Is that something that if you address touch sensitivity that's similarly like falls under that umbrella where it's kind of addressed, or does it have to be addressed separately?
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to answer that because if you're walking by yourself, you don't even have your dog, and then if you went up to every stranger and wanted to say hi, right? Not everyone's gonna like that. Okay.
Hmm.
Same thing for our dogs. if I already know my dog doesn't like strangers, I'm not going to be putting them in an uncomfortable situation. However, we can make them at least not become defensive and aggressive.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I don't care if he doesn't like it as much, but I don't want him to get afraid where he snaps or something, since he's been known to do that when people try to actually handle him, like groomers and vets.
So that's the most we can do. We can't, you can do your best with making him like people, but I can't make him like people, right? That's based on him. Same thing with like, I don't know, I don't like, what is it? For some reason, I'm not a fan of like lobster, right? And I've tried it, my friends maybe try it, but I still didn't like it. But that's my decision. My friends can't
Yeah.
make it. Same thing with their dogs, right? We can't make him like people touching him and doing these things, but we can make him not attack. That's all.
Oh, got it.
Sometimes if when a dog is thinking, okay, well, I can't attack these people because mom's going to address me, it opens their brain for curiosity, and
Uh-huh.
then they become curious about the person, which then allows like acceptance of like, okay, well, if I can't bite you, who are you? And then that's when you get like a bond, right? But it needs to be repeated with a specific person a lot. So let's say you have a new friend and you're struggling with matzo ball. That's good to do, and we would help you with that because you're going to be seeing that friend a lot. So then we can work on that.
Uh-huh.
The strangers, it gets a little difficult there. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's mostly like I don't need to make him like people. I need to make sure he's not aggressive if someone does try to pet him or whatever.
Um, what else? Um,
Can I ask about the anxiety of like when I know like public anxiety where I can't leave a room. It's weird because I can leave, like I can distance myself in our home and it's all right. But it's like in public, if I leave him to go to the restroom, he shrieks. So is that something that could be addressed? Like him knowing like I don't have the freedom to just make a scene
yeah.
in the airplane or wherever.
Sure. So it's not so much of just like a one thing to do or a one and quick answer. That's more of like just relationship, right? That's more of
Mhm.
continuing to practice separation, ignoring him when he becomes needy, to let him know that this gets you nothing, right? If you keep doing it, I'm gonna, definitely would be appropriate to apply some sort of consequence, right? So the towel method you did is actually something we do tell our clients to do, right? Because sometimes you might not have the remote. He might not be collared up in your home and you're seeing him doing something where you don't like, right? We tell our clients to roll up a towel, like with rubber bands or something, and you can toss it or like literally bonk your dog, right?
Yeah,
This,
that's what I did. It was right there. I was in the kitchen. I'm like, whack.
this is healthy and good because he's realizing that because sometimes dogs show opportunistic behavior. So, for example, do you drive on the highway?
Yes, sometimes. And he was not good the last time. Every other time he's been fine.
Okay. Do you go the speed limit?
Oh, I thought you meant like him in the car because he usually is fine, but he's not.
Yeah.
Um, no, I
Well,
break the law.
what happens when you see the law, though? The cops.
Yeah, I slow down.
Exactly. Right.
Ah, okay, good analogy.
So when he has a collar on, it's normal for him to just like be cool because the cop, we just like to
Hmm.
call a cop a collar, right? The cop's here. But once that collar comes
Hmm.
off, it's normal for him to be pulling you again. It's normal for him to be demanding behavior because he knows that without this, you can't do anything, mom. Right. But then when you have a towel, and it's good to have around some of them around the house, once you're letting him know that I can still correct you without the e-collar. I don't need it for you. I don't need it. I can still address your behavior. He's gonna be like, oh shit. Right.
Yeah,
So definitely ignoring any neediness, only giving affection when he's not asking for it. And never a reward demanding behavior, right? When you're in
yeah,
public and you're trying to talk to someone and he starts to whine with the e-collar and like the knowledge we give you, we'll teach you how to address him in that situation to where he's just settling. Um, any other questions?
No, I mean, I'm following. I see what you're saying about the like the repercussions. Like you abide by the law when you see the law,
Exactly.
you know.
Program wise, I think I remember seeing you wanted to do a board and train, correct?
I would like to do that. I want to
Um,
like have a final correction as far as we can go with it, and then I do what I can, like I maintain it if that's possible. That might be like optimistic, but
yeah,
like you guys do what you need to do, and then I will do it.
for sure. So a few things. It's not out of the ordinary when we do the touch sensitivity stuff that we don't see it because day one when he comes in, we start training right away at the ECOG. We start training him heel. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Once the dog realizes that the place he's at provides discipline and structure, and we're not letting him get away with anything, he might not try anything with us, right? So we've had a few
Oh
resource
yeah.
we had a few resource guarders come here, and they would not resource guard at all. They wouldn't even want to confront us because right off the bat they're in boot camp, right? They're like, oh shit, we're
Yeah.
so that's like one thing I'm thinking about is that when he's here, we might not see it because of like the rule.
Like the touch sensitivity handling too.
Correct. Yes.
What if there's no like way to create a variable, like someone who tries, or like different environments, like
It
different
depends. The
handlers?
only time that, we see that type of stuff is with the owner, right? When the owner is present. However, if you get him back and you don't see it and we're just not seeing it anymore, technically it's been addressed, but indirectly, right?
Got
Um,
it.
so we've had a dog who was a resource guarder, and we didn't see it. They went home and they just didn't see it again. It just never came up.
Oh, got it.
So that's like the one thing I'm thinking about. Same thing with the resource guarding with him is that we might not see these things, right? If it's as serious as it is, because one, this is nothing new to us. We've had dogs come in here and shown us like the touch sensitivity stuff, and we've had other dogs just not care, right? We had a dog who didn't want to be touched by the collar or the neck, so that neck sensitivity. We never saw it. But it's kind of like maybe it'll come up, maybe it might not. So I'm just giving you a heads up that if you do the board and train, and when he comes here and we're not seeing it, that's why we're not seeing it.
Hard to address. Okay, and so in that instance, with if like he's touch sensitive, like when I'm not around, like at the daycare, at the vet, at the groomer. So are there ways to like, I don't know, like not that like you're saying you want to invoke that behavior, but when you're talking about the pull like that to like get the dog, you're talking about the dog training. Like, is there a way to like kind of instigate it or
Um,
no? Like
we could
make
we
him think I'm gonna clip your nails or I'm gonna cut your hair.
we can probably we'll do our best to like maybe because we do have like a grooming area here, and we can probably put him in a situation where like the blowers are going and we get the nails and stuff like that. So that's possible. I'm from everything I'm hearing, I'm thinking he might react because daycare he reacted, grooming he reacted, with your friends he's reacting. That's in front of you. So there is, from what I hear, there is like a higher chance he might react with us. Um, but then again, once he arrives, he's going straight into a kennel, right? And if he's throwing a fit, we're going to be addressing those things, right? So then if we're just addressing little things right away and we're not letting anything slip, it could be either we don't see it or we see it, but it's not as intense as you've seen it before. That's all.
Hmm.
But everything I'm hearing, I can see him most likely. There's something going to happen for sure, because of all the
Do
previous.
you think? Oh, sorry. Do you think like the anticipation of knowing he's going to be corrected, like could possibly like you're saying indirectly to address that behavior where like he knows, okay, I'm not going to get away with shit. Like whether, and if you can't directly address his touch sensitivity, he knows like he needs to be obedient. He knows he needs to like you know what I'm saying?
Yes, because when he, let's say we make him walk and we're addressing the kennel stuff, and he's like, damn, like this shit's crazy. Like, he's like, this is intense, right? Where if he's put it in a situation of grooming, he's probably gonna be second guessing where he's like, okay, should I react? Should I let them touch me? They've made me do all these other behaviors. Is it worth it? Right. So that's what's
Okay.
important about the training, right? Is we want the dog to second guess. We want the dog to be like concerned about the training you've been doing and the numbers and all that stuff, where it's like, should I do it or should I not do it? What if I don't do it? Oh, nothing happens. He just touched me and then we're all good. Right. Or if I throw a fit,
Yeah.
this feeling's going to come back, but he already has a history of this, right? So he knows that this goes away when he relaxes, and he kind of connect the dots really quick. But like I said, I feel like we might see something, some sort of tension, some lip licks, some maybe like a growl or a snap, just because of how consistent he's been with everything in the past. And if no one's been able to address him besides you, it's most likely we'll see it here, especially if he hasn't been to a daycare or boarding center before. Because usually 90% of the time what we hear is that the dog went to daycare and he was good, right? But he went to daycare and he was not good. He went to grooming, he is not good. So I think like there's like a 70-80% chance he will have a moment with us.
Yeah, like demonstrate those behaviors where you can address them.
Sure.
Okay.
But again, just letting you know, if it doesn't happen, that's why.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. Full disclosure, got it.
Duration of the program,
Okay.
I think, were you thinking like because we have 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, and a 4 week? Is there one you're specifically looking at?
I'm looking to your expertise and deferring to that. Like, what do you, I guess I'm curious to how the transgression of the program goes, and then like how long do you know how long they should stay before, like just by assessing, like by just this discussion, or do you need to see them?
Just a heads up, we're at 8 o'clock. I'm fine with going over if you're fine with it.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I was just gonna message my friend and let them know I'm gonna be late.
No worries, take your time. Because this is
Okay.
we're just gonna talk about programs and then after the consult.
Yeah.
So 1 week would not work out. 1 week is more for like general obedience, creating the foundation, and then you're off. So if he had no behavioral issues and you just wanted him to walk nice, 1 week is for you. 2 week, probably like bare bones minimum, yes. Because it gives him an extra week to acclimate to the environment and kind of solidify everything we've taught him for that first week. With the board and train programs, for every week you get 1 hour-long video. The 2-week board and train comes with 2 videos. The first video for any program is the introductory lessons for heel, stay, sit down, come, place. Heel, stay, sit down, come, place. So that first week, he's going to learn all of that on e-collar, as well as addressing the resource guarding and the touch stuff. Second week, it's kind of just like more proofing stuff, where we do like a long leash video for you and kind of like getting him to like that off leash, that first step to off leash training, right? These videos, and the trainer who runs this, his name is Elias. He'll be the one kind of leading those videos for you, and you'll be seeing how he takes the e-collar the first time, how he's handling. Maybe you see him get a little stressed. Maybe he starts to jump on Elias because he's trying to, again, he's just getting stressed about it.
Oh,
Right?
they're videos with my actual dog.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they were like training videos.
No,
Okay, got it.
this is all your dog, right? So you're
Okay.
seeing him go through all these lessons and videos, right? It's your dog. Their third week, it's optional for you. It's not like too much or overkill, but that third week video is where we start training him in a playpen with full of dogs, kind of like increasing the distraction level. And then the fourth week is we take the dogs to like a park area and we kind of touch upon like off leash stuff and off leash obedience. So basically, obviously, the more time he's here with us, the better he is, right? What also comes with the board and train programs are follow-up lessons. The 2-week board and train program comes with 4 hours of in-person time, and those are done with Elias. Okay. So you're getting two videos, you're getting that in person, so that we make sure everything's transferring appropriately to you. And then, obviously making sure everything's going well. With one of those in-persons, with one of those hours, I do recommend having them in your home so that Elias or I can teach you how to have guests enter the home without using plates, without using anything, and just kind of going through that. So that should be done right away. Did these scare you?
No, I just snapped him.
Oh,
Like snap, so he'd be distracted from the home noise. So
so that's the board train program. Pros and cons. Pros, we get it done faster than like an in-person program, right? So what I can get done in 6 weeks with the in-person program client is what I can get done in 1 week. Okay.
yeah.
Get it done a lot
I
faster.
mean, we did the training lessons. Like I would prefer to do like board and train if it will address most of the behaviors we've discussed. Like you can at least, I mean, like you're saying, this touch sensitivity might not be 100% addressed, but like the other behaviors, like
yeah, pros and cons, we get done faster. Cons is that you're not part of the training. That's all. Okay. So it's not a worry though, where sometimes clients think like, well, the dog, we've had consultation with the clients go, the dog was well behaved when the trainer was there, but when the trainer left, the dog was misbehaving. Okay. That technically has not happened with our programs because let's say Elias is working with him on the videos, and multi-ball's remote or level on training is 25. Okay. When we hand him off to you and you work with him and you're using 25, 25 is still 25. It's the same feeling, right? So there's no like he's stronger than her or she's stricter than him. If it's the same number and the same exercise are being practiced, it's the same response. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay, so he won't be disobedient just because the trainer's not around, is what you're saying.
Correct, because the feeling is always going to be the same no matter where he's at or who he's with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the board and train program.
I know you said the first week are like basic obedience, and then the second week is where you address what was it? You said the second week you address
we're just
basic obedience is
we're just kind of proofing the obedience and kind of solidifying like the behavior stuff.
okay. And that in that time will his problem behaviors be able to be addressed?
For us, yes. Now when we hand him off to you, I think you're asking like what is to be expected from this program for him. Like I said before, this is all relationship based. Okay. So when you get him back, don't think it's like you're sending your car in for a flat tire or like an oil change and you get it back and it's brand new, right? That's not how the dog training works. You send him here, he's going to be good here. When he goes back home, it's normal for him to go straight back to, because he's coming home. He's like, back in my palace. I can do what I want now, right? But then it's our job to teach you what to do in these situations so that it's just consistent. So he's not just thinking at Enrique or Jesse's place, I had to be well behaved, but at mom's I can misbehave, right? We don't want that. And it's again more about the walking is very important because that is an activity you and multi-ball do a lot of. Usually owners walk the dogs 3 times a day, 2 to 3 times a day, right? So 2 to 3 times a day, you're actively practicing the structured walk and the discipline. It should start to affect you, his view on you, right? Because best friends don't tell best friends what to do.
Yeah.
Get a friend come over, you wouldn't tell them wash my dishes, right? So you have to kind of be aware of how does multi-ball view me? How does he view me, right? So it's kind of just like that, ignoring him when he's becoming needy, addressing him when he needs to be addressed, and then the walks and stuff like that, and using the e-collar at appropriate times is what's going to affect your relationship at home. Here, I don't have a relationship when he arrives. There's no relationship. But the moment he figures out who I am and what I can do, right, with the training, he's not going to try anything. Okay, maybe, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, like he'll push my limits because he knows how far he can push them.
So we're not going to see what you see, where he's jumping on you and becoming needy, or if I leave, he's not going to bark at me because he doesn't care about me. Okay, but at
Yeah,
times where you're
like you said, the level 25 is a level 25. Like he'll understand the consequences the same regardless of the person.
yes, so then when you get it back, you have the tool and knowledge to address him. Okay.
Okay. You reminded me when you were talking about, I forgot what reminded me, but he's potty pad trained. Like he goes potty on a potty pad, and will time away from using a potty pad like disrupt his training? Because I mean, he's no.
No, dogs never really forget something, right? So he'll go home, he'll still do the potty pad stuff. We don't do the potty pads here. We have outdoor areas where they can potty and everything like that. Um, so it should be easy for him. Because I'm assuming the potty pad is there because you live in like a building, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, an apartment. So if he needs to go, he can go, but we do go outside, so
Yeah, if he knows how to go
we do
outside,
both.
yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. Um, anything else? Any other questions?
Is the training primarily inside or
Yeah.
like all of the training?
So training's inside. We have to take him for training walks, right? Because if the dog's able to function with the obedience and everything inside, that's great. But if they can't do it outside, what's the point, right? So we have to make sure it's trained
Yeah.
outdoors areas. Just today, I took one of the boarding trains to Home Depot and took him around. We went to like elevators. I had a car. I was picking stuff up for the facility. So going to other places and letting him know that the e-collar is universal. It's not just at the
Got
facilities.
it.
Is very important for our programs. If he's not training, he's playing. If he's not playing, he's on a walk. If he's not on a training walk, he's doing duration work where he does do place and he practices place here. If he's not doing that, then he's probably walking on a treadmill. If he's not walking on a treadmill, then he's kenneled, right? So a boarded
Yeah.
train or a dog who's here for training tends to get more activity than your standard regular daycare dog or boarding dog here. Okay, so there's
Okay.
a lot of stuff he's actively doing throughout the day here to be busy. Um, any other questions?
Yes, on that is some of the board and train programs I looked into before I was recommended you guys, like they're like, oh, board, and then we train your dog for an hour a day. And I just like, I don't know if that's how long it takes to train him, but it's like, if I send him away, I want him to like, have the adequate training. So I just want to make sure it's not just an hour a day he comes out of a crate to like learn something.
He's gonna get about one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 6 to 7 lessons a day. So every
Hmm.
handler here knows how to train
Hmm.
and repeat behaviors, but only me and Elias and Jesse know how to teach, right? The repeating and like after that is good, it's easy, but to teach is a little more difficult, and that's like through experience. So Elias would
Uh-huh.
teach him the behaviors, and then everyone else just repeats, right? So an hour a day is not that much. Yeah, if they're doing an hour a day of training, that's like
Yeah.
our training sessions last
Okay.
between 15 to 20 minutes each. Um,
Okay.
and it's good to keep it short, right? Because dogs thrive through short repetitions. They learn if you
Hmm.
did one long 1 hour session and then you did another dog with breaks in between throughout the day, the dog will learn more with the little lessons than like one big lesson, right? But no,
Uh-huh.
dogs are pretty active throughout the day here.
Okay. And so like they're in a kennel obviously at night, and then like for the rest of the day, like unless they're doing other activities, they're in a kennel.
Correct.
Okay.
Uh, what
And
else?
all the dogs, like I mean, the people have their dogs trained being there for all different sorts of reasons, but like he's not going to be around aggressive dogs because he's bait. Like he's such a little dog, and his fear like could make him, and you guys know, I'm sure, but it's like he can be intimidated, and it just makes him seem like prey to certain big dogs. It's happened before the dog park. That's why.
Okay. Yeah, no, we split dogs up based on size and temperament, so it shouldn't be a worry. And if we are doing any socialization with an aggressive dog, we have to take precautions like muzzling, they're collared up, an experienced handler is in there, and the appropriate dogs are in there as well. So that's more of like a like specific, but yes, you're correct. He wouldn't be with those types of dogs based
Okay.
on his personality and how he takes that.
Okay. All
Uh,
right.
any other questions on the e
Um,
program or anything?
no, not necessarily. I'm curious to like what duration you would say like minimum would be required and what would be ideal, and then like, you know,
Yeah.
just logistics of it.
Minimum 2 weeks. 3 or 4, that's up to you, right? If you want everything, like all the training, and you're also more than welcome to visit. So if you, let's say you did the 4-week program because you want everything and you want um the most of the program, right? You're more than welcome to come visit him, say hi. You can also have a follow-up lesson in the middle of your program. That's also possible, okay? But minimum, I would say 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
What else? Any other questions?
Um, no, do you guys send quotes or how does that work?
Yeah. So after this consultation, you're going to receive a follow-up email from our assistant, Katie. She's the kennel manager here. So she's going to send you the programs I recommended with the costs. She's going to send you he's 8 pounds. Yeah, 8 pounds.
Yeah.
She's going to send you the model of e-collar I recommend. We should have his model here, so you don't need to worry about ordering it. We can just bring it off the shelf and then we'll invoice you for that. She's also going to send you a link that goes to what our website called Ginger. Ginger is the website we use for our daycare and boarding services. So we're going to need like his shot records, basic information, and then a fecal exam that says negative. Okay. And then there's also going to be like a form you have to sign. Once you've turned in all that information, you've signed the form and agreed to it, then we can go ahead and begin the billing and booking process.
Okay.
Any questions about that?
How long booked out are you?
Or I forget do you have any specific dates in mind?
No. I mean, I don't know if you suggest I want to get him neutered. I don't know if you'd suggest that's something that should happen before, but nothing in particular.
I forget what they're doing for the holidays. I think if we do get a board trained during the holidays, that they just don't get trained there because we're so busy with other dogs. But
Yeah,
it
would probably be like after the holidays.
okay, you should be fine then. That should be good. But for neutering, that's personal preference. Neutering is like a hit or miss. I've seen dogs like completely change when they got neutered. Like I've also seen other dogs who got neutered and nothing changed. Okay. So I'll let you kind of make that decision yourself. If you want to neuter him before training or after, that's up to you.
Okay. All right.
Because we do accept neutered. Well, we do accept intact males and intact females here. That's fine.
Okay. And you said like shouldn't be a problem to get him in like after the holidays, let's say January sometime. Okay. Cool.
Anything else?
No, I think that's you answered my questions. I'm sorry I had so many.
Oh, no worries. But other than that, if anything does come up, you did think of another question. I believe you have my email, Enrique@caninaperspective.com, and you also have Tina's. So just get in contact with us and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.